All right. Hello, everybody. This is Jackie Cox coming to you, and I have Meg Fredrick here today with us with the Positive Mindfulness project that she's been working on. And so, super excited to be here with Meg, and she's going to be our speaker at our next upcoming ACE meeting on Wednesday, January 15th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Bucket List Tavern in Castle Rock. And so we do it's January. I mean, happy New Year, everybody! And we made it through 2024. Now we have a great start to 2025 with starting off with positivity and good energy around that. So Meg, super glad to have you here with us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you're working on?
Well, I am the co-founder and executive director of the Mindfulness and Positivity Project, which started back in about 2016, 2017, when I was still teaching full-time. I am a retired educator, spent my last 18 years teaching sophomores and seniors. And the project that started because we began to notice a lot of mental health issues with our students, teachers,
Right.
everybody. We all know that is not news to anybody.
Yeah.
And the Mindfulness and Positivity Project is really all about helping teachers and students live their very best lives and how we can all thrive and flourish in a world that can be very difficult and chaotic and hard to manage and
Right.
stressful and all of those things. So that is kind of what I'm doing. We've trained about 700 teachers in the Pikes Peak region,
Wow.
and this last year, long story short, we would always say if teachers can take care of themselves and be healthy, happy human beings, that is the most important thing in a classroom. Everything else will follow. So we
Absolutely.
started training teachers and um, on their mental health and well-being, and then told them then just go into the classroom and whatever practices it is that you do, whether it's some breathing techniques or gratitude or grounding or
I love it.
savoring positive emotions. If you do all that in your life, then you'll naturally do that with your students. They don't have the time to plan, to organize. So our big launch this last fall was an online curriculum that teachers use with their students in the classroom. And that is in District 2, District 11, and District 12 right now, and reaching
Wow.
about 1,800 students. And so teachers spend 8 to 10 minutes with a kind of a no prep, push and play that comes with journals. And kids are
Good.
actually working on their well-being every single day in a classroom to develop that skill of thriving and flourishing, just like they would develop a math skill or vocabulary or science or
Yeah.
anything else. We have to teach kids these things. So yeah, so it's pretty
You.
exciting.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I'm so impressed with where this has gone for you. And I mean, obviously the overall, arching mental health needs to be addressed. What was the actual inspiration behind starting this for teachers and on behalf of students?
Um, this this is the sad part of the story. We call it the empty chair.
Okay.
Many of you may remember back in 2016, 2017, and moving forward from there, the death by suicide of students. And I lost a student in my classroom, and my co-founder, Jeff, lost a student as well. And we actually had quite a few death by suicides with our students. And we just said, gosh, this is the most important job as an educator right now, is
Yeah.
making sure that no teacher ever faces the empty chair. So that was really the motivation. How
Love
can we
it.
help our kids? How can we help
Yeah.
our students? So
Yeah.
that's how it
Absolutely.
began.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, as sad as that is, that's a great place to start though, because it's, again, you have to teach these kids, right? They have to be, this is a learned skill that, if you start thinking more positively and things like that, they do feel better. It lifts them up. And so, I mean, I know it's a sad start. I just think it's super important and it's so great that you took it to that next level to be able to help these kids. I mean, they're dealing with a lot more than either of our generations, have had to deal with when we were that age, and all the cyber things and the cyber bullying and the things that happen now just didn't happen when we were growing up. And I think it's so important. And I also think it's important that you're instilling this in kids at a younger age because,
Yeah,
a lot of adults still struggle with trying to overcome some depression and things like that. But it's also, had we if we learn it now, it's still better off than not learning it at all. But being able to kind of overcome some of those things we just didn't know how to do, right? When we were kids, always.
exactly. Well, and there's a great book out right now called The Anxious Generation, which talks a lot about the loss of childhood play.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and that's really what it is. I mean, play, running around, having to go find our friends rather than text our friends, or having to have
Yeah.
conversation, or even having disagreements, or getting into it and everything. Those are all real healthy emotions. And you're absolutely right, Becky. Technology has taken away a lot of our playtime, our interaction, our body movement,
Yes.
all of those things. And so yes, we have to teach kids this just like we teach them, as I said, any
Yeah.
other skill that we want to develop.
Right.
And it's a practice. If we
Yeah.
want to be good at something, we have to practice. I always say nobody just wakes up one morning and says, "I'll be darned. I'm happy. Yesterday I was miserable and
I
depressed. I woke up this
know.
morning and everything's great." It doesn't work that way.
Right.
It's a practice. And so that's the foundation of the online
Yeah.
curriculum, and what we tell teachers is every single day of our lives we really have to be aware of the practice
Mhm.
and the intention with which we're living and the things that we're
Yeah.
doing. So that's really what it is. And
Yeah.
when we stop practicing something, our skill level drops, just like anything
Absolutely.
else. Soccer, playing an instrument. So
Right.
we really have to be fully engaged in our lives every day. So
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely. And you're exactly right about the play. I mean, I think that that's a skill too, to a certain degree, that we need to, tap into our inner child and tap into the space of having fun and just giggling and laughing, because that releases so many good endorphins, when we act like kids and play. And I think as adults, somewhere along the line, I'm not sure what age it is, but somewhere along the line, it's like, well, now you're an adult and you have your own home and you have to be, all these responsible things. Yes, and
exactly.
yes, and not it's not an either or. Just because we're at a certain age does not mean we take away the fun in our lives and the things that give us a release.
Exactly. Well, and you know what? That's exactly what you are doing with ACE Community, is you are gathering people to, be together and laugh together and practice fun things together, do
Yeah,
activities. And our Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, his number one um his big focus was the idea of loneliness. And he said
yeah,
loneliness is killing us, just like anything else. I mean, it was some people, it
yeah,
was about, cigarettes or cancer or
right,
whatever it was. His is loneliness right now.
right,
6 out of 10 Americans say they feel lonely and isolated. And
right.
that physiologically kills us,
Yeah,
and it hurts us. So gathering and being together
yeah,
and in communities like yours are the ways in which we combat this sort of national epidemic of
yeah.
being isolated and lonely and disengaged. So kudos to you and the work you're doing. So
Well, thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate that. I mean, I have, for me, I feel like I have always been a positive person, and that was instilled at a young age of we've got to be, it's not always sunshine and roses, but there's one good thing about a day every single day, at least one good thing.
every day.
And
Yep,
so I do I live in this space of naivety of feeling like everything is just all bright and sunny all the time? No. However, I do look for the good. And so having this community, that's so important to me too, is helping others feel like they can look for the good and things like that too. So it's just, I love being a part of something like that, and I love helping others be a part of something where we can go together like that.
absolutely. I mean, there are so many extraordinary things and moments that happen every day in our lives, but
Absolutely.
oftentimes we're too distracted to notice. So
Right.
can we just be present here and
Yeah.
notice all of the extraordinary? Because when our
Yeah.
brain's going this way and that way, it's going backwards into the shoulda, couldas, and forwards into the what ifs. Gosh, this present moment right here offers us just extraordinary,
Abs
beautiful moments. We just don't realize them. We're too
yeah.
distracted with all the things in front of us. And And so that's
Yeah.
really what we want to do is just be right here in this one precious life each moment,
Right.
and it does make us far more happier, and we thrive and flourish
Does.
and all
Yeah.
of that. So yeah,
It
yeah.
is. Absolutely, it's awesome in that way. So, how about you personally? What do you like to do for, resetting your mind on a daily, on the weekly, and then also taking that one step further and having fun in your daily life?
Yeah. Well, I have 7 grandkids now, so that's just fun, and they're all different ages. So spending time with my grandkids, just it's a whole different world than being a parent. So
Sure.
that is one of my greatest joys, and actually teaching my grandkids on a little side note here, what is absolutely come full circle and is so happy in my life is that at my grandkids' school in D11, they are using our curriculum,
Oh,
and
yay.
so my grandkids are actually and my grandson who's 3 is so proud and excited. My Amy created these journals and this is
Oh,
her stuff, and so I get to go into their classroom. So that's a huge, huge privilege and
wonderful.
gift and joy in my life. And then in the summertime, I love my garden, my vegetable garden and my
Yeah.
flower garden. So if I'm having one of those days, I know exactly what I need to do, which is just put on my garden shoes and go outside and pick tomatoes and dig in the dirt and
Love
we
it.
all know that nature, hiking. Jackie, you do a ton of that
Yeah.
too. Just getting out in nature um, is so critical. And then I love to exercise. I love to
Yeah.
really work hard at the gym. And I'm like everybody else. I don't want to go today. I'm not going to go. Yes, I go. And when I get there at 9 o'clock and leave at 10, I'm as happy as I can be. So moving my body, whether it's outdoors or in
Yeah.
the gym, um, connecting,
Yeah.
with my friend. I love giving my vegetables away in the summer. It makes me super happy. It's just
Yay. That's awesome.
so yeah, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
those are just a few of my happy things. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love it that your grandson noticed that this is, you said Gammy, is that what I heard him?
Amy, they call me Amy.
Amy. Okay. I love it that he's recognizing that Amy is coming into his classroom and even when you're not there physically, you're still there. Your presence is still there by your journals and things like that. I think that that's so amazing that they are already recognizing that. And it's super fun then. It's the next generation of taking over of,
It
the
is.
positivity.
It is. It gives me hope that we are going to begin to teach a generation
Yeah.
of children who are kind and grateful and compassionate and aware of their
Yeah.
daily lives and
Yeah.
loving their lives through all of it. That and I'm with you, Jackie. It's not sunshine and roses. I've had a lot of
Right.
suffering in my life, and I've shared
Yeah.
some of that with you, I think,
Yeah.
over the years, but it's not that we don't suffer.
Right.
It's that we can build the capacity of resilience when
Right.
when things happen that are just really difficult. How can I bounce back from those things rather than become
Yes.
completely overwhelmed and unhinged? So
Right.
that's
Right.
and that's kind of building the space to create a place where I am the
Yeah.
majority of the time very grateful. Gratitude
Yeah.
is wanting what I have and really being because if we do that every day, then
Yes.
when the tough stuff happens, we're prepared for it. We're able
Absolutely.
to deal with it in a way that, like I say, doesn't completely
Yeah.
do us in. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and it's amazing. I mean, I've been practicing gratitude for several years now, but when you deal with some of those bigger things that happen, loss in life and things like that that happen, because the gratitude is now on the forefront, you're exactly right. You're able to get through it a lot smoother, not easier, but
yes,
smoother. And
yes,
because, one of the things I've learned along the way as doing gratitude is you're grateful for all things, not just the really good things. And so what I mean by that
exactly,
is even when you suffer loss or you're grieving or anything like that, you still are grateful for the great things that you had with that person or whatever, or the moments you had together. I mean, you can find great gratitude things in the things, even though you're missing that person or you suffered something else, there's still great things around it that, help you get to where you are today. So it's gratitude is so
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah, because it's that idea that if we love deeply, then
Yeah,
when we lose, we're gonna grieve deeply. I mean, they go
right.
hand in hand.
They do.
And those negative, sad emotions are part of the fact that we loved deeply, therefore we
Yeah.
grieve deeply. I mean, if we're never angry or upset, well, then we don't care about
Right.
injustice or things
Right.
like that. So it is not just the idea of, oh, levity, I just live in the clouds of gratitude and happiness all the time.
Right.
Absolutely not, you
Right.
know? We balance those, and, they're both
Yeah.
really important in our lives. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So do you have a word that you lean in on for the year?
I've been thinking about this. I think mine this year is kind of what I was just talking about, awareness. I
Mhm.
want to live in the awareness of the moment, every moment.
Awesome.
And so I'm leaning towards awareness or presence this year more
Yeah.
than anything. And being able to notice when my crazy mind is wandering, and usually when my mind is wandering, it's not, oh, Meg, you're so wonderful, life's great. It's like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Correct.
Or beating ourselves up. So the
Right.
idea of being aware of
Yeah.
each of the precious moments I've got.
Yeah.
Which is a very hard thing to do. The world comes
Yeah.
at us at a pace that our bodies and brains can't handle. So, you
Yeah.
know, that and play. I think play is
Yeah.
another, but I
Yeah.
think play brings awareness. It's hard to play
Does.
and be worried, or, your mind is
Correct.
elsewhere. So when you're creating, when you're playing, you are aware. So I'm kind of messing with some of those right now.
Yeah. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. I love that. And then do you have a big goal that you're working on that you've set in place for 2025 here? For
You know,
yourself, for your business, or either?
Yeah, I it's funny. I'm one of those people when I set a big goal and then, I miss the first couple of steps. I get frustrated and go, "Oh, that was just, too much." So mine are more I try to do tiny steps for
Love
me
it.
too. And another word is just my goal this year is to be more balanced between
Yeah.
work life and family life. So my
Yeah.
goal is to set up my work days and then to set up my play days to be a little more intentional with work life balance. I mean, I'll be 64 this year, and I retired, back in 2019.
Yeah.
So, and I'm there's sometimes in my life when I'm just a little doing a few too many things rather than
Sure.
enjoying more play and free time. So mine be a little
Yeah.
more balanced this year,
Yeah.
and just do what I really love to do, especially with business. We've got it kind of moving really smoothly now,
Yeah.
so it's time to sort of delegate, turn over a few things. So yeah, I'm looking for a little more balance.
That's awesome. Well, and I think there's a lot of people in this world that don't believe that balance really exists. I'm
Mm,
not one of them, but here's where I describe balance. We're not looking for perfect, equilibrium here. We're looking for a flow. And this is
mhm.
more balanced than the high low or high highs and the low lows. And so that to me, this ebb and flow feels a lot more balanced than I don't want this. I'm never going to be, well, I'm doing exactly this for my work and exactly this for for my personal. That's not the way it works.
No,
And so
not
when
at
people
all.
think about balance, they're thinking about this perfect scale and this perfect scenario. And yet balance is not that. It has some give and it has some ease and flow through it. And so that's where I consider balance. And so I love that you're talking about you're a little bit more of a work life, play life balance. Um, because it can exist and it can exist in both too. You can have some play
Sure.
when it comes to your work, and you can have some more like moments of work when it comes to your playtime too. You can network while you're playing type of thing. And so
Absolutely, absolutely. It's kinda like that balance beam. We're gonna wiggle and jiggle as we move across it. We just don't wanna tumble off to one
that's
side or
right.
another.
That's right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's awesome that
Yep.
you're working towards that as well. And so tell us a little bit more about what is something that you really need or you're working on for the mindfulness project?
Um, I think my goal, and something that I really want is to really get our curriculum into more and more schools with
Yeah.
more and more teachers. And our program is a little different than a lot. Ours is kind of bottom up. We train teachers for free. We've always done that. We host retreats, and then we tell them a little bit about our curriculum, and then they go back to their schools and they tell their their colleagues, their principals, whatever, can we get this program in our schools? Rather than when I was a teacher, it was always top down. Like the administrators, the principals, all of them would say, okay, we're going to implement this program.
Hmm.
And as we all know, we don't like it that way. We don't like to be
Right.
told to do something. And ours is going from teachers saying, I love this, I want this. So that's
Yeah.
that's really our goal. Because walking into a classroom. I was with a bunch of fourth graders at Sand Creek Elementary several times this year, and they love the mindfulness. And when I talk to them and they say, it just makes me kinder, or it makes, when I
Oh.
get to, oh, I had one little girl say, I love to practice gratitude because it helps my anger go away. I mean,
Oh.
those, I know. And so that's what I want. I want every kid to have the
Yeah.
opportunity to be able to see this. So our goal is to grow um, within schools and teachers. There's always
Mhm.
kind of the roadblocks that we hit along the way. As with
Sure.
anything, working in education can be
Yeah.
difficult. But yeah, I see a world 10, 20, 30 years from now where we're all very much back to the idea of play and kindness and civility towards one
Yeah.
another, because we've slipped from that
Yeah.
in another direction in
Yeah.
so many ways. So can we get back
Yeah.
to engagement with one another and
Yeah.
believing, and knowing, I mean, the thing is, if I can love my one precious life, then I don't ever want to hurt myself, and I certainly don't want to hurt anybody else. And that's
Right.
really, whether it be whatever way that is, through words or
Yeah.
actions or anything else. So yeah,
Yeah.
so our goal is to really, that's our big goal this year, is to jump in and really be able to have this program in a lot more schools. And
Okay.
so we've got a lot of good stuff going on with that right now, though. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, what is the best way to get into those schools? Meaning, what kind of connections are you looking for? How can I help you? How can our community help you? I mean, what are you really looking for from a connection standpoint of getting in those schools?
Well, our biggest connection is teachers, and that's really always going to be our mission, is um, to get teachers who see our work. And I'll tell you this: when we offer all day retreats for teachers in the summer. We do them in at El Pomar in Colorado Springs. They're so generous with their space, and it's beautiful
Yeah.
there. We're actually going to be doing some this early June in Denver, at Kent, Denver. But our the way that we work is that we get teachers to attend our retreats, and
Okay.
we give them a whole day to do nothing but take care of themselves. We start with the all the science and the research behind what's going on in our brains and our bodies,
Yeah.
and how, and they
Beautiful.
leave with a whole tool. Yeah, they leave with a whole toolbox of, here's what I can do on a daily basis to really improve my overall well-being. And then
Yeah.
those teachers go, gosh, I want to do this with my students. Then they go back to their schools, and then we get involved with talking with their principals and those types
Yeah.
of things. So really, our foundation is teachers, just like,
Yeah.
me, just like Jeff, our co-founder, is teachers working with teachers,
Got it.
um, on the front lines of the mental health issues. So,
Okay.
so yeah, any teacher, I don't care where you are, who you are, if you want to know more about what we do, and we actually, it will never cost teachers anything to attend
Okay.
our all day retreats.
That's
We, in
amazing.
fact, we offer stipends to teachers when we have the funds to do so, and we give them continuing ed credits for attending our
Yeah.
workshops. So,
Beautiful.
and we take really good care of them. So teachers are how we begin. Who are you
Yeah.
out there as an educator that wants some more tools in your toolbox to work with,
That's awesome.
all of the mental health issues going on. So yeah,
Yeah. So,
teachers.
yeah, teachers definitely. So for me personally, I don't have kids, but I do have nieces that are in the school system in Colorado Springs. And so is it something where the parents can kind of get to the teachers, or how does one get to the teachers, I guess?
I think that, just sharing our information, it's all on our website at
Okay.
thempp.org. And and when you go to our website, it gives you all the information about the dates that we have for retreats and where the retreats are, and any teachers, paraprofessionals, anybody. I mean, we get a lot of school counselors, administrators, anybody in the school system, and and we do some work in businesses. I work with the CPSD, the 911 call team, and I
Okay.
do an 8-week workshop for all of their incoming classes throughout the year. So we do that, but mainly just any teachers. They can reach out to me through, through our website and email, and we've
Yeah.
got all of that information on there. So yeah. So a student could go into their teacher and say, "Have you ever heard of the Mindfulness and Positivity Project? Because you might really love to attend one of their workshops this summer." So that would
Yeah.
be, it's as
Awesome.
easy as that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's interesting. I mean, so even my little niece, I mean, she's 7 and she has loved journaling for the last like 3 or 4 years honestly. And she just, I mean, sometimes it's doodling and whatever, but that's such a release, right? That space of feeling creative and
Oh,
doodling. And then sometimes she writes down different things like gratitude and things like that. And so she started off at a young age
yep.
kind of on her own, but I almost wonder if there was some influence somewhere, if it was her
Hmm.
mom, dad, or else maybe it was one of her teachers, and it could have been. And so she's just amazing she still loves these journals, and I recently found you know, a Little Minds creative journal for her, and so hopefully, I'll give that to her for her birthday, and so it's just different things like that like you said, she herself could tell this to her teacher, and I love that.
It is exactly. She can go say to her teacher, "This might be really something really nifty for you to go to." And
Yeah,
teachers, and we are collecting a lot of data. We've gotten a grant from Colorado
yeah,
Springs Health Foundation, and we're collecting data. And then the National Institutes of Health studied 248 of our teachers last fall. And after going through our all-day workshop and then follow-ups for once a week, it was a little bit of a different program we were doing just for some research. I mean, teachers showed that they were less burnout, less stressed,
right,
much more job satisfaction, found their lives to be much more satisfying. So
yeah,
it works. The
it
practice
matters.
works. We know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah.
so that website again is mpp.org?
The MPP.org.
EMPP, okay. Okay,
Or
so
just we're trying to shorten it. You can still go to mindfulandpositive.org.
okay.
So, but everybody says it's a long name. I said, I know, and we don't know how to change it. We've tried to rebrand and we just still love the name.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Awesome. Well, awesome, Meg. We are super excited to have you speak for our group coming up again Wednesday, January 15th, 4 to 6 p.m. in Bucket List Tavern in Castle Rock. So join us for that meeting for our ACE community, which is adventure, creativity, and enjoyment. And we do keep it very positive and fun in our community as well. And then you're going to be sharing a workshop with us at the end of the month on the
Yes.
30th, which we're super excited about as well. So we got some great things. We got a lot of Meg coming up in the community, so very excited
Yay.
about that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But I'm happy that you shared this website with us, and we look forward to a great year with you, Meg.
Thank you. I'm super
Yeah.
excited. And the workshop on the 30th, you don't want to miss that one for sure, because I have Dr. Aveen Banich is going to be with me, and we will end that little workshop with a sound bowl
Wow.
meditation. If you've never had one, it is an amazing experience. And
Yeah.
she is an unbelievably talented physician here in Colorado Springs,
Yes.
and has some unbelievable insight for all of us. So that's going to be
Yay.
wonderful. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that. That's also in Colorado Springs on January 30th. If that's something anyone, our audience is interested in, please contact me. I can be reached on my website as well, swirlsllc.com. And so, yeah, we're super excited to have Meg around and giving us some good positive energy as we start 2025 here. And so, Meg, thank you for your time today. Thank you for joining me on this interview. And certainly look forward to what you have to come and then hear what you have to say as well coming up.
Okay. Well, Jackie, thank you. And thank you for all the work you're doing in the world. It's one little small step and group and people at a time. That's how we're going to change the world. So
That's right.
kudos to you and all you do. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. Well,
Okay.
thanks, Meg. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.